Welcome to The Rundown with Ramon. In The Rundown with Ramon, in this episode, we talk to my friend and professional speaker and futurist, Crystal Washington. We talk to her about, one, taking time off. Every December, she takes time off, like completely unplugs from all things business so she can focus on her family, focus on her health, focus on building personal relationships, and just relaxing. How does she do it? Why does she do it? And more. We talked to Crystal Washington about how she takes time off in her business and how you can learn from her. Two, we talked to Crystal Washington about how she hires a team. She doesn't just have one team member, not just two team members, but she's getting ready to hire a third team member for her professional speaking business and other things. How does she do that? And bottom line is, she says you shouldn't build your business by yourself. Get help. Get others who can help you build it. And one part of that is to have systems in place to help the team scale you. Mentoring young people is another thing that's really, really important to Crystal Washington. And not just mentoring young people, but she spends quite a bit of time investing in her nieces and nephews and cousins and helping them, who are often much, much younger than her, little people as it were, to help them live better lives. So I got a little personal with Crystal and found out why she does this, how she does this, and what we can learn from her effort, her successful effort, and her focus to pour into the young people in her life. So listen, enjoy this episode of The Rundown with Ramon. My name is Ramon Ray, your host. You can get to know me better at RamonRay.com, RamonRay.com. And let me know how you like this episode of The Rundown with Ramon. Email me, Ramon@RamonRay.com. Hit me up on Instagram, Ramon Ray Smart Hustle, and other platforms. Thanks for watching. And now let's get started with The Rundown with Ramon featuring Crystal Washington. Everybody, thanks for being here, listening to, watching The Rundown with Ramon. Thanks for Black Enterprise for having this show. It's good to be here today. My name is Ramon Ray, and on The Rundown with Ramon, we want to make your life just a wee bit better, or a lot, and or help your business, or both of those. So I'm so glad I'm talking to you, are here with me today on The Rundown with Ramon on Black Enterprise. Today is my friend and an expert. She'll tell you more about what she does, a professional speaker, and more, Crystal Washington. Crystal, how are you today? And thanks for being here with us. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm amazing. I'm here with you.
I will accept that and take that then, Crystal. That means we're both amazing. But good to have you. Crystal, can you do a self-introduction of yourself to people? I know you're a professional speaker. You have the theme, the two words of futurist, which could mean a lot of things and more. But tell the Rundown with Remote audience who Crystal Washington is.
Sure. Well, my name is Crystal Washington, and I work with organizations that want to leverage technology and foresight, which is futurism, to increase their profits and productivity. And I do that primarily as a keynote speaker. I've been doing that full time. It's my only job for over a decade. And I've spoken to many of the bigger names that we see on TV and in our houses every single day. And it's been an amazing blessing to do so.
For sure, it has been. And I'm tempted to touch on that, how to be a speaker and all those things. But Crystal, as I talked to you before I hit the record button, I don't want to go there. We may touch into it. We'll see where it goes. But I've observed you for some time now and how you roll, what you do, through the lens of social media. And I think it's beautiful. So I just I picked out a few things, Crystal, that I think the Rundown with Ramon audience would benefit from, to learn from for Crystal. So one, Crystal, after this recording is something you recently did. I think you took off for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, can't remember, but you took off. You legit, because I was DMing you on Facebook now and then, no reply for like 10 weeks. I'm joking a bit here, but point is, Crystal, you took some time off. Can you just talk to us about why you did it, how long you do it, we can learn from it? Just spend some time sharing what that was all about.
Certainly. So I take the entire month of December off. This is something that I started the year before last. Actually, after Lenore Billings Harris, who is a very well-known, amazing pioneer, African-American woman speaker, mentioned that she takes time off years ago. And I remember she talked about taking a month off. And at the time I was like, you can do that? What about missing money? And she planted that seed, not even knowing. And so this has been my second year taking the entire month of December off. What that means is I say no to speaking engagements. I say no to money. My staff runs my entire business. I return to sign contracts. But the reason that I do that is that it allows me to recharge, spend time with family. And people ask, so do you work on your next book? Do you brainstorm? If I get an idea in December, I do not allow myself to write it down. I know, right? It's very intentional. I have to completely unplug. And what a lot of people say is, I don't see how you do that. I don't have time to do that. Let me tell you what happens every year when I come back in January. my brain is on fire. But what happens is it's very intentional. And so I remember the first day back telling my team, I said, this is insane. I'm literally getting 4 times as much done in the same amount of time in a day. So I'm not really losing productivity because when I come back, especially for the first month or two, January and February, my brain is extra sharp and the ideas flow. And so there's something about, many of us know that the answer to when our technology isn't working properly, they tell you to reboot it or shut it off for a while. I do that to my brain, and it benefits my family. It benefits my friends because they learn. I'm teaching them what's possible for them. I don't look at emails. I don't check social media at all. I'm off for the whole month. I don't even take coffee appointments with anyone who there's the slightest chance of us talking about business. If I can't hang around you in my pajamas, if we don't have that relationship, you're not going to see me in December. But I'll see you the first week of January. I'll make it a point.
So, Crystal, if I were to DM you and say, Crystal, can we spend 30 minutes playing Scrabble? Metaphorically speaking. Yes, Ramon. Absolutely. Yes. Let's do that December 3rd. All day, Ramon. But if I said, Crystal, and after the game of Scrabble, could I just pick? But
time to go. I don't know if anyone remembers The Color Purple when the piano player puts down the piano. He's like, time to go. That's me.
I love it. So, Crystal, I guess asking for the Rundown with Ramon audience, because I'm their whisperer, I can hear their questions to me. What do you do, and or what could others do who are not Crystal in that time? Meaning, is it all day you and the person you love or your pet or your dog just sitting on the couch watching Netflix all day? Is it we went off to Mexico to a retreat for 30 days and rode horses? It could be any of that, but give us a sense of what you do and or what people could do.
I think it's whatever's on your heart. So sometimes I will sleep like a baby for a week, like where there's no real schedule. And it's weird, when I come out of that, my body feels better. If there's any aches or anything, I feel great. Sometimes it's getting my nieces and nephews, the little ones, and having them over and cooking with them and baking and doing nature walks and doing museums. Sometimes I'll take a week and go to Puerto Rico by myself and just puzzle and sit on the beach and go to the El Yunque rainforest. So I think you have to do what works for you. And I also want to be sensitive to the fact not all business models allow you to take a whole month off. It's fine. But if you can make a day, or if you can make a weekend, I think it can benefit everybody. So it's just whatever is within our power. I didn't start with a month off, I assure you. It started with me taking a day off when I didn't think I could take a day off.
I love it. So I guess it makes sense in that your team, everybody knows this is an event. So right now, your team is like, oh, no, you want to do it December 1st? Listen, can we do it November 30th? Can we do it November 29th, 11:59 p.m.? But not in December. So you're working towards that already. Revenue, let's pretend that you didn't have the revenue. Maybe for those who are learning, say, hey, can we invoice this, bill this, or can we get this done October? You're working toward, my point is, that December event. Everybody knows.
Yes, yes. So we work around it. And sometimes I just can't do an event. Some events can't work on a different date. And so I've turned down significant amounts of money. And the way I justify it to myself is, how much is your body worth? How much is your mind worth? If you wear it down before it's time, are you really a help to your family and friends and community then? So I have to keep telling myself that. This year was easy. The first year, it was a little hard. I was like, and then being an African-American woman saying I'm not going to work for a month, there's nothing in an African-American woman, all three of those things put together. That's not American. That's not something women are taught. That's not something that Black people believe in. So it definitely was a training process.
I got you. And then I'm curious, last question on this topic, Crystal, this is so good. Your phone, we all carry, I'm assuming it could be different, but I think because you're a technologist, we all carry a phone. I think you have like 7 phones or so, but we all carry our stuff on us. So I'm curious, Crystal, that first day or whatever it is, did you have your phone in hand, just making sure you only did fun things, or did you have to put that phone away? Because I know me, I'm just intuitively, we've done it for 11 months now. In your case, scroll, email, and maybe you have systems for that already. But for me, it's my email is my life, my WhatsApp, my texting. How did you handle that emotionally, mentally, or whatever word you want to use,
So I have a business cell phone and I have a personal cell phone. And so the business cell phone goes off. The personal cell phone, I remove every single social media and email app off of it for the month of December. And then I re-download them in January.
I'm just going to say that Crystal went gangsta. Not gangster, gangsta. TA. That's just it from what I see. Crystal, I love this. You mentioned team a few times, Crystal, and I've had the benefit of working with your super person team member and others. I think you may have a new team member as well who's working with the team member. So just talk about this aspect, Crystal, again, what you're doing. Give us a little playbook of how that could work. And I know you've been in some complex scenarios where you and your team have worked things. You all have a pretty judicious way you work for you and your schedule and things. So talk about that, hiring an executive assistant, how you work with them. Again, give us a little TED Talk, as it were, a masterclass, and how people listening can maybe hire their first EA and do what you're doing, something like that.
Okay. So I'll share what works for me. Again, everyone that's with us right now is super intelligent, so you can adapt information to how it fits for you. But for me as a professional speaker, most professional speakers are a soloist. They do it all themselves. I quickly realized I had a great mentor who taught me, you have to focus on revenue generating activities. And me generating contracts is not a revenue generating activity. Me doing a lot of the administrative things on the back end is not revenue generating. I needed to focus on sales calls, building relationships, and content, which is IP, right? And so what I did first before bringing on any team members is I established systems. And usually I write my systems out on paper. It might be a flow chart to figure out if someone calls, I want them this to happen, ask these questions based on this happens. Once I created that, then I found the technology that would aid me in letting those things happen. I created an online directory so that people had, whoever my team member was, would have access to my marketing materials or my special, I'm a butterfly number with each major airline, all that, the reward stuff. All those things are in one
Images, videos, clip, whatever they need, all that.
All of it, right? And then once I had the systems, the one for managing my events, for managing my clients, so my EMS system, event management, my CRM, my customer relationship management system, then you bring in a person who can work those systems. Oftentimes we bring in people and we say, help. They don't know what to do. They don't know what we want them to do. It's a different skill set to create systems than to work those systems. And so oftentimes those are two different people. So expecting them to do it may not work. And maybe it's not our wheelhouse either. That's mine. But maybe you have to talk to someone who can actually design it for you. Then you bring someone to work it. And so I've been with Regina now. We've been together, I think, for almost maybe 8 or 9 years. And we now have Faye on the team too. Faye is actually, I guess the way to explain it would be she's internal sales. So instead of me having an external salesperson who goes out, knocks on doors, prospects, I realized the best business I have is from my existing clients and those referrals. And so her job is to love on my clients. All she does is do things to delight them and to let them know we appreciate them. So she doesn't do any external going after business. She keeps our clients happy and they keep referring other business to us.
Yeah. And I think that's a powerful concept, Crystal, you and I both being speakers. Sometimes, somebody asks me actually just, Ramon, how do you fill your calendar or whatever, fill whatever they mean by fill. But the point is, I just asked, not quite probably to maybe to the level Faye's doing or whatever. We can always do better and better. But I know the event's coming back again in June. Hello. So build the systems, get the people. And then, as you said, you're scaling yourself as best you can, because Crystal may not have to call for them. I'm hearing you say, but Faye can say, hey, listen, I'm working with Crystal. Just wanted to say thank you. I know you're having your whatever, on and on. Am I hearing kind of what you're?
Yes, that's exactly. And again, it's not even just Faye. I said internal sales because that is her function. I'm talking to other people that are in business, but I don't even think clients view her that way, because oftentimes she's sending gifts or cards and it's not stuff with my logo. If we send a gift with our logo on it, that's a tchotchke. Yeah. A gift is something that's about them. So I send things with their names engraved on them. I send things based on things I know they care about, or if they had a new grandchild. And so Faye is in charge of delighting them. But we have the systems in place and ownership. So everyone knows, I know what I own, Regina knows what she owns, Faye knows what she owns, and we're bringing on another person in the next month.
Congratulations. I'd love to see the growth. And I'll tell you one thing I did, if you have it in mind, if you know what it is, I'd love to know which one super delightful thing you did. But I'll tell you mine, Crystal. I'm very proud of it, because it wasn't just chocolates and all the usual stuff. But I was like, what can I do special? I think this was last year. It happened to be holiday season time, Christmas. But I got customized boards, and I did it for 30. I'm not going to do it for 500 people, but those clients. So I get 30 to 40 of them, customized cutting boards, the wooden thingamajiggies with their name engraved in it. That's what I did, said their name in it. Anything that comes to mind. You like that, right?
Actually, you know what? Yes. So I love that. I'll show you something. Now, this isn't our normal gift, but over the holidays, what Faye and Regina did was I'm a futurist, but people tend to think that's the same thing as a psychic. It's not. And I have to explain the difference. But we sent out this beautiful little card. I don't know if I have one of those handy. Let me see if I have it really quickly. Yes. So we sent out this cute card, which has a picture of me and my team on it. Happy New Year. Now, inside, it was handwritten saying, we're so glad that we have this beautiful relationship with you. Wish you the best. Crystal's a futurist, but we know that sometimes we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what to decide. So we decided to get this for you. And so in this little bag, each person had one, and it's a decision coin. Okay. And so this one is just one that we tested that just has my husband's name, CJ. But each one had their name, go their name, no their name. So if a client needs to make a decision, they flip it. It has their name on it. Go Ramon, no Ramon. And so they thought it was the cutest thing ever. So it related to my area of expertise, but it wasn't about me. It was about them. Their name is on it. Each and every one of them had a different coin.
No, you're so true. It's funny. I love that because it's easy to think we want our name on it. I was talking about this with a team member for some stuff we're doing. They're like, "Oh, let's put this name on our website address." I'm like, does Crystal want to wear in some Texas airport RamonRay.com? Yeah, we may be friends. She may love me, but I don't think so. There's some of Crystal Washington on it. So I love that. Yeah.
No, and Ramon, here's the question. Have you bought your wife nice things before, like beautiful gifts, thoughtful gifts? Not necessarily it has to be expensive, but something nice. Yes. You don't have to engrave your name on it for her to remember that you sent her that thoughtful gift. They'll know every time they see it, they'll think about you because it's thoughtful and it's about them.
Yes, that's right. And then combined with, as we go here, social media, which I know I use quite a bit. I have my clients even telling me, "Hey, Ramon, love your motivational story." I'm like, I forget that my clients watch. So thankfully, everything I do is fine. But meaning I'm in a meeting. They're like, "Oh, when you said this morning that you did this," I'm like, "You follow me?" They're like, "Oh yeah, we follow." So to your point, they remember who we are for sure. Crystal, this is absolutely amazing. Let's go on here while time is going. Oh, time is good. I think time is good. Yeah, let's get in a few more things, Crystal. Another thing that you do, and again, everybody, thanks for listening to The Rundown with Ramon. I'm Ramon Ray. If I can serve and support you, you can check me out at RamonRay.com. DM me on Instagram, Ramon Ray Smart Hustle, if I can serve you. And let me know how you're liking this show. You know what? If you don't like The Rundown with Ramon, tell me too. If you like The Rundown with Ramon, tell me as well. Crystal Washington, can you just give us your full name, again, your website address, and just say hi one more time to The Rundown with Ramon before we continue on?
Certainly. Crystal Washington, technology strategist and futurist. And my website is Crystal Washington, Crystal spelled like a rock crystal, crystalwashington.com.
Yes, and I must say, if you're having those events, it could be a small event, but I'm going to give my own promo of Crystal. You're having those big events in Las Vegas, Orlando, where, you got the double screen, the triple screen, and you have to shout, "Jimmy!" You want to tell people they need Crystal Washington to speak at their event. So that's my
Thank you, Ramon.
You're welcome, Crystal. You do quite a bit, Crystal, of nurturing family members of yours, in particular your nieces and nephews and etc. You shared on Facebook, you shared on social media, "Hey, I was talking to my nephew about this topic," or "this funny thing happened." You seem to be very intentional of pouring into their lives. Can you just help us understand, I guess, why you do it, how you do it? And as always, when I ask this, what we can learn from it? What can the parents, or what can family members, what can aunties and nephews and uncles and grandparents, what can we learn, Crystal, about pouring into people younger than us? And I don't mean I'm 50 years old, someone 40, but especially the littler kids, the small kids. What can we learn from you, Crystal?
Well, what's interesting in my case is I was born to a teen mother, okay? And so the first few years of my life, I grew up in a multi-generational family. We lived with my grandparents, and my grandmother was daycare. I never went to daycare. And I lived with my great-grandma and my uncle with Down syndrome and my cousin whose father was stationed away in the military. So we were all together in this lovely little home. We weren't, it wasn't an underserved area. It was this lovely little home. But I learned the importance of the community because my aunts and uncles would come and get me and expose me to things that maybe my young mom couldn't afford. And I didn't grow up with my dad, right? And so I still had those male influences. And so now that I'm an adult, I see my younger nieces and nephews and little cousins, and I recognize I would not be where I'm at right now if my aunt, who wasn't a Harvard graduate, who was an attorney, didn't pour into me, or my aunt that was the social worker, my uncle that was a financial planner, right? When my mom, again, she was the youngest and the teen mom, she just didn't have the resources. And so I have the life I have because family members and friends, I didn't know till I was an adult how many of them paid for my Girl Scout fees and paid for me to go on. I didn't even know family friends were doing that for me. And so we have this beautiful opportunity to shape the next generation, the ones around them. And so my nephew, starting at 4, we start talking about stocks, and I got stocks for him. And my little niece, we talk about all kinds of different issues. I tell her, if anyone ever calls you bossy, you're not bossy, you're a good leader. So I think we have these beautiful opportunities to pour into them. And rather than judging environments and what they don't have, or what the parents or this or that person isn't doing, fill those gaps. Yeah. We don't have to talk about what other people can do. We do it. Yes. You know, I send my older nieces and nephews, like the teenage ones and the cousins, crazy memes, crazy inappropriate, not sexually inappropriate, just ridiculous memes. And so what it does, it keeps them open, because they're like, Cousin Chrissy or Titi, she is crazy. But what happens is when they have issues, they'll say, Cousin Chrissy, can I talk to you? Auntie, Titi, can I talk to you? So I think we have to be intentional, and I share it. And I only share so much. There's a lot of things I don't share. And unlike a lot of my older ones, I don't share them on social media, to encourage people, to let them see. I'm intentional, Ramon. I think we've talked about this before. Me and my husband intentionally do not have children. So when we tell people we don't have children, like, I'm like, no, you don't understand. We did this on purpose. But we have the resources and the time as a result of that to pour into so many other children.
Yeah, I think that is so beautiful. And 2 things that I'm hearing, or that I see you do, Crystal, is you have experiences at times with them, whether it's a walk or whatever, but the experience, and you talk with them. It sounds weird, but I can't say what all parents do, but just from my limited observations of humans, sometimes we give the kid an iPad, or, person walking their dog and on the phone. I get it, but I'm like, why don't you play with the dog or the child or whatever? Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? But I find that you spend the time and talk with them and experiences. Talk about that, Crystal.
Well, I think talking to them on their level. So a lot of my friends and different people, Karen McCullough is another wonderful speaker people can look into. She's one of my mentors. I remember when she brought her twin granddaughters to one of my book signings. And as soon as they came in, I'm dressed up in a dress, makeup. I get on my knees, so I'm their height. And I say, hello. And one of them immediately comes over and hugs me. And Karen's in shock. She's like, she's the shy one. Children know when you're speaking with them versus at them. And so again, if anyone sees me, I don't try to hug kids right off the bat. I ask them, do you like a wave, a high five, a hug? And they tell me what they want. So I think just speaking to them at their level and treating them like equal humans. They may not have all the same knowledge, but they deserve the same level of respect. And I think they feel safe, and then they're more open to learn from you. It's you mentioned my post that I did. I did a post recently about one of my nieces, and her not believing that boys like pink because her daddy doesn't like pink. And so we had this whole conversation. I gave her an example. She saw my husband, her uncle, in a pink jacket. And unbeknownst to me, I didn't tell her mother about this incident. Unbeknownst to me, she went home and argued with her father on how boys like pink and purple. And he was like, but I don't like pink. She's like, you do like pink. And he's like, I don't. So by the end, he's like, you know what? I guess pink isn't a bad color. Daddy likes pink now. And she's like, okay. So it's funny how you can influence children to influence adults, right? But it's just speaking to them at their level. And kids are capable of understanding much more than you think. I remember when my nephew was like 6, he was checking his stocks on his phone. I didn't even know that he had downloaded the app himself to do that. Yes. So just exposing them. I think exposure is the biggest thing. And kids will lead you and to show you what they want to learn next. So just making the time.
I love that, Chris. And I think that, again, not to try to generalize, but I'm going to generalize. I think that many children are only 1 degree away from exposure, which could be the difference in how they turn out. Doesn't always mean the case. People like David Goggins had a jacked up, terrible life, whatever. But I think that metaphorically speaking, that child who was just exposed had an auntie or a friend who said, hey, let me tell you about stocks.
Yeah.
That may teach them. I know I didn't grow up understanding that until I was much older. So I'm only a fast few years. You and I have talked about that only recently, as it were, getting into investment, all this. I didn't. So it just takes a kind person teaching you a few things, so I love that, Crystal. One other thing, Chris, I want to touch on before we close here. And again, thank you, Crystal, for spending time with us. I was on the receiving end of this from you. and it impacted me so much. I think you're a big deal, Crystal. You may not think you are, but in our own eyes, but I think you're a big deal in some communities we're in and all this, and some experience and things you've done. That's how I see you, as honored to learn from you in many ways. And I was with you at an event with some colleagues and mutual, big event, thousands of people, just hanging out. Can't remember the context, but just, hey, Crystal, what's up? Hey, let's walk a bit and chat and talk. And as you were going, Crystal, because many people at that event knew you. That's just, hey, if you roll with me at my church, everybody will know me. Nobody will know Crystal. So at this event, everybody knew you. And you were purposeful, Crystal, in saying, hey, this is my friend Ramon, or here's Ramon, and introducing and inclusivity, and not like the PC word. I say that honorably, but just you were genuinely doing it. Just let's all get together. Let's go. Hey, selfie time. Hey, there's Joe over here. Joe, you want to join us? That spirit, if you get what I mean. So, Crystal, can you just talk about that? Why do you do it? Talk to us about it. What can we learn from it? Just share.
I just get joy from other people being happy and successful. And I might be different than some folks, because I think we all know people that are happy to help people as long as they're below them. I get a kick out of helping people and watching them surpass me. Like that is I get so giddy, right? Because otherwise, what's the point of mentoring someone if they're going at your same pace? Like you should accelerate them. At some point, they need to move faster than you did. And so I think it's about connecting people with intention. I also think this might be attached to one of my quirks. I have a puzzle mind. I've always loved puzzles. I was a 1-year-old that had tons of puzzles. I've always had puzzles. And so was that you too, Ramon?
No, me, no. I'm like,
I love puzzles and seeing how things fit together. Yes. And so I think pairing my desire to see people succeed and get what they need, I like introducing people like puzzle pieces. So, Ramon, if we're walking down a hallway and I see someone else, my mind automatically goes, where's the possible synergy? So when I introduce you, I don't do just a generic. I also mention what you all have in common, or what might work for you, right? And so I just think, what a gift. We can have $0. And sometimes as entrepreneurs, especially in the beginning, you might have $0, but you can give something way bigger than money. And that's connecting people with other like-minded people that they can change each other's lives. Even if one was in a higher position, we never know how the world's going to turn out. They might pull this person up, and then later on, this person might pull them up too. So I think it's just, we should be intentional as we're finding ways to grow and get better. Pull people with us. And again, not just pulling people up, I'm going to pull you up and throw you above me. Like, this is all win. That's the beauty of this thing.
Yeah, no, I think that is so powerful, Crystal. And I think that the polar opposite of that, I don't know if you felt this way, but I'm guessing in your life you felt this way. I know I have it a few times. You're somewhere. So let's say the opposite. Crystal and I are walking, and it's been 7 minutes. Everybody's talking to Crystal, but I'm awkwardly still kind of, you're not meaning to do it. Let's say, because you're a nice person, Crystal, you didn't mean to do it. You just were unintentional, that you were just walking with Ramon for 3 minutes. So I'm kind of here waiting for you to finish. Everybody's talking. So the polar opposite of that, it can get worse, but is that, which is just a horrible experience for one to feel. So I just wanted, I think it's just so beautiful. And you went far beyond uplifting people and adding value, then purposely connecting people, which I think as professionals, the world is about, Chris. And I think if more people did that, if we did that, I think the world would be a better place, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Crystal, did I not ask you anything that you think the Rundown with Ramon audience may benefit from? These are a lot of creators and authors, consultants, speakers, and small business owners. Some people are freelancers, some people have full-time jobs, but it's an open mic, and maybe we covered pretty much things you wanted to touch on. But anything you wanted to add that I didn't touch that you think this audience might benefit from?
There's maybe one more small thing, because I know we've kind of jumped around to just little things that you found interesting about me. But going back to the fact that I'm a futurist, and so I help people plan. And I just want to say that we're living in a time where there's this pressure to constantly grow and to know everything and to do everything yourself. And the technology is constantly changing. I just want to encourage everyone to keep in mind really what you just said, Ramon, that it's all about relationships. At the end of the day, even though I'm a technology strategist, it's not about the technology. If there's something you're trying to do, already identify what the need is. And then you find the technology that services that. You don't just have to jump on every new thing. And if you focus on serving people first, and then only incorporating things that help you in your plan and purpose, it relieves a lot of that extra stress. And the last thing is just listen to Ramon. You know, Ramon, I've watched you for years, and you are this beautiful enigma because you're so humble and you're so brilliant. And the way that you connect people and get people to share is beautiful. And so I just think your audience, everyone who's with us right now, you're already in the right place. He's just, and I'm not just saying that because I'm here. I say this about Ramon behind his back. You know, I believe in sharing good rumors, and that's one of them. So just keep doing what you're doing and know that you don't have to know everything. You're never going to know everything, but just be confident in the fact that as long as you're looking to serve people, you'll be fine. You just incorporate what you need to serve people.
I love that, Crystal. One more time, could you give us your full name, your website, and feel free one more time, the best type of person who we can connect you with. I know you're a speaker, but say it in your own words for the Rundown with Ramon audience, please.
Certainly, Crystal Washington, and my website is crystalwashington.com. Crystal spelled like a rock crystal. I am, again, a professional keynote speaker, so I primarily speak to audiences of at least 300 and above, sometimes much larger than that. And the best people to connect me with are executive directors of associations, as well as sales directors of organizations, because a lot of my programs, even though I'm talking about technology in the future, many of them plug right into sales components. And I have a sales background. I come out of sales, and so I understand them very well, from financial services, financial advisors, to realtors, to anyone else in a sales type position.
Love it. Hey, everybody, again, this is Ramon Ray, and I brought to you my friend and an amazing human being, Crystal Washington. I hope you check out her profile and more. This is the Rundown with Ramon. We do our best. Well, I think we do more than do our best. We do help you live a better life and grow your business. Thanks to Black Enterprise for hosting this amazing show. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, watching this video, or listening to it on podcast, article, whatever, let me know how it is. Let me know how you find the Rundown with Ramon. DM me across whichever platform you like, and happy to serve you with that. Thanks for watching the Rundown with Ramon.